They say freezing to death is peaceful, that your body stops fighting, that the cold feels warm, that you just drift away. That's a lie, because the winter I'm about to tell you about didn't kill people, it learned them. And once it knew your name, it never stopped calling.
The winter that never left. Winter arrived early that year. Not the gentle kind either, the kind that comes down hard, like it's angry you noticed it at all. By mid-November, the sun barely rose above the tree line. Snow fell every night, thick and silent, swallowing roads, fences, and eventually, people. The town of Gray Hollow wasn't supposed to disappear. It sat off a forgotten highway in northern Canada, the kind of place people passed through once and never remembered. One gas station, one diner, a school that never seemed to have enough kids, and a forest that pressed in from all sides like it was listening. The first storm lasted 9 days. When it ended, every road out was gone. Phones worked for a while, just long enough for everyone to realize no one was coming. Day 12. The power died at 3:17 a.m. Every house lost heat at the same time. No flickering, no warning, just sudden, absolute cold. The kind that makes your bones ache from the inside. People lit fires, burned furniture, tore down old sheds for wood. They told themselves it was temporary. That was the last time anyone used the word temporary. Day 18. Something started walking outside at night. At first, it was just tracks in the snow. Too long to be human, too narrow to be an animal. They didn't lead into town, they led around it, circling houses, pausing at windows, stopping at doors, and then vanishing. Day 21. The dogs were the first to go quiet. Not dead, just gone. Leashes snapped, kennels empty, paw prints leading straight into the woods and ending like they'd been lifted off the ground. That night, Mrs. Calder swore she heard her dog scratching at the back door. It sounded exactly like him. She opened it. They found the door frozen open the next morning. No blood, just drag marks leading into the trees. Day 24. People stopped going outside alone. That's when it started knocking. Slow, polite, 3 taps. Always after midnight, always when the wind died completely. If you looked through the peephole, you'd see nothing, just falling snow. But if you listened closely, you could hear breathing on the other side. Too slow, too deep, like something learning how lungs work. Day 27. The radio crackled back to life for exactly one message. A man's voice, calm, exhausted. If you're hearing this, do not follow the voices. They sound like people you know. They are not cold. They do not need shelter. And whatever you do, don't let it inside. Then the signal cut. The radio never turned on again. Day 30. They found Evan Price standing in the middle of the road at dawn, barefoot, no coat, skin blue-white with frost, eyes wide open, smiling. When they brought him inside, his body temperature was normal, warm, too warm. He asked why everyone looked scared. He said he'd been walking with someone all night, someone tall, someone who knew his name. That night, Evan disappeared. His footprints led from the shelter straight up into the trees. Day 33. The snow stopped falling. That's when they realized the forest was closer. Trees that used to be a mile away now loomed at the edge of town. No one remembered them growing, but there they were,
branches sagging under ice, bark split like frozen wounds. At night, something moved between them, not fast, not slow, just enough that you could never focus on it. Day 36. People began hearing voices inside their homes. A mother calling from the basement, a child crying from the hallway, a husband whispering from the other side of the bed. If you answered, you never finished the conversation. Doors were found open, windows cracked, snow on the floor that never melted. Day 40. They tried to leave. 5 snowmobiles, fully fueled. They made it 2 miles before the trees closed in, not blocking the path, bending toward it. The forest wasn't chasing them, it was waiting. Only one person came back. She refused to speak, wouldn't blink, froze to death sitting next to a running fire. Day 43. The thing finally showed itself just once during a whiteout. A silhouette taller than the trees, barely visible through the snow. No face, no shape, just a darker absence in the storm. And behind it, hundreds of footprints, all different, all leading back to town. Day 47. No one knocked anymore. No voices, no footsteps, just silence. Perfect, suffocating silence. The kind that makes you realize something isn't hunting anymore. It's counting. Day 50. They found this journal frozen inside the old school. The last entry reads, "Winter didn't trap us here. Winter was the door, and we were never supposed to survive long enough to notice it closing." Epilogue. Gray Hollow no longer appears on maps. Satellite images show only forest, no roads, no buildings, just snow. But every winter, when the temperature drops low enough, drivers swear they see lights in the trees and hear something knocking. 3 slow taps from the inside of their car.
The cold that learns your name. The cold arrived before the snow. That was how people knew something was wrong. By early December, breath hurt. Not the sharp sting of winter air, but a deep, invasive ache, like the cold was slipping inside instead of staying on your skin. Pipes froze overnight. Engines refused to turn. Even inside sealed houses, frost crept across walls like veins. And then the snow came. It didn't fall, it smothered. Night 1. The blizzard erased the highway in under an hour. White swallowed black, trees vanished, landmarks dissolved into nothing. By the time the storm cleared, the town of Ridge's End was sealed inside a bowl of ice. No cell service, no radio, no way out. The temperature dropped to -41 degrees Celsius and kept falling. Night 3. People started seeing lights in the storm. Not headlights, not flashlights. Small, warm glows drifting between buildings. They moved like they were searching. Anyone who followed them never came back. Night 5. The shelters filled. Everyone crammed into the old recreation hall, burning scrap wood, furniture, anything flammable. Frost still crawled along the ceiling. That's when people began hearing their names. Soft, gentle, spoken from just outside the walls. Not shouted, whispered, as if whoever was calling didn't want to scare them. Night 6. A man named Caleb answered. He wrapped himself in a coat and stepped into the storm, smiling like he'd just remembered something important. They watched him disappear into the snow. The footprints behind him steamed, like the ground itself was warm.
Night 8. The cold changed. It stopped biting. Instead, it soothed. People who went outside came back calmer, quieter. Their skin flushed pink instead of blue. They claimed the cold wasn't so bad anymore. They stopped shivering. That should have terrified everyone. It didn't. Night 10. Someone noticed the dead weren't freezing. Bodies left outside didn't stiffen. Snow around them melted slightly, forming shallow craters, as if something beneath the surface was radiating heat. Something deep, something patient. Night 12. The voices grew bolder. They didn't just call names anymore. They spoke memories, private ones. Remember when your father taught you to drive? You hated being alone, didn't you? It's warm with us. And horrifyingly, they were right. Night 14. The first person came back wrong. Her name was Mara. She'd been missing for 2 days. When she walked into the shelter, snow fell from her hair but didn't melt. Her breath didn't fog. Her skin felt warm, too warm. She smiled at everyone and said, "It's waiting for you." They locked her out. She didn't scream. She just stood there, hands pressed against the glass, frost blooming outward from her palms. And behind her, shapes moved in the storm, tall, thin, dozens of them. Night 16. People started dreaming the same dream, a massive shape buried beneath the town, not asleep, listening, feeling footsteps above it, learning. Every time someone died, the cold eased, like it was being fed. Night 18. They tried to burn the town. Fires raged through buildings, black smoke clawing into the sky. The temperature rose for the first time. Then the ground split open. Heat poured out. Not fire, not lava, breath. A low, exhaling sound rolled through the streets, and the snow began to fall again, heavier than ever. Final night. The cold speaks clearly now. No whispers, no tricks, just truth. You were never meant to survive me. You were meant to join me. People stop fighting. Doors open. Bodies walk willingly into the storm. The lights in the snow drift closer. The ground pulses with warmth. Epilogue. Weeks later, rescue teams reach Ridge End. They find no bodies, no buildings, just a wide, perfectly circular depression in the earth, still warm, still steaming. And as night falls, the snow around their boots begins to melt.